Welcome on back, everybody. It's the Rubbin is Racing podcast with Spider and Large. Quigs is out today, getting the hair plugs. We have Moonhead at a remote location, who's going to be on with us for this episode. Jacob on the ones and twos, and a special guest coming up in just a little bit is going to be Danielle Trotta. I don't know where you would. I'm going to ask her how she wants to be introduced, because obviously she has the gig on Sirius that she does, just about every day. But also the Amazon thing is, I think, probably first and foremost in everyone's mind because it was so wildly successful this season. But either way, we're going to sit down with Danielle and kind of hash some shit out. So stay tuned for that. This episode is brought to you by DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling. Every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Every game is another chance to cash in. Don't just watch the action, win with it. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the unmatched intensity of the NFL right to your fingertips, from first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting. Every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season's heating up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Rubbin. That's code Rubbin to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. And we're also brought to you by Blue Chew. Guys, enter the room dick first. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet. It's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. This ain't a supplement. It's an erection resurrection. Guys, this isn't just about performance. This is about legacy, or should I say third legacy. Give her group chat something to talk about. When you lay it down, they're talking about how it gets up. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free. Just use promo code Rubbin at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to BlueChew.com for details and safety info. And big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Boys, how are you doing? Spider, you see I'm decked out in the dive bomb gear?
I love it. I love it. I was just wearing my dive bomb boots the other day. It was raining here in Chicago. There's nothing like those trudge boots.
Yeah, I will tell you right now, I got sandbagged when I was in Chicago by Spider. Slow played me on a long drive contest. Large, just hit it nice and easy. Don't get out of your range. I'm not hitting the ball well. Gets up, best drive out of 5 apiece. Spider gets up, first drive, 38 yards. You top the ball.
Yep.
38 yards. I'm like, holy shit, this guy sucks. So then I get up, nice little easy poke, put it out there, maybe 215 or something, right down the middle, right? Right down the middle on the short hairs. Second one, you get up there, I don't know, you get it out there 180, 190. I'm like, oh, he made some contact. That's adorable. I get up there, put it back out there, same thing. I'm basically putting him in a bucket, put him just out there 220 right down the fucking middle. We do this. We get up to our fifth. Spider decides just to put a little bit of fucking one of his, little Spidey sense into it.
There.
Yeah, puts it out just to 240. Again, I can get this thing out to 240 on the simulator, but I haven't. I'm just sort of doing my little half swing because I turn into a bag of tits when I get beyond here. And so, boom, I put it out there, maybe again, like 225, 230 or something. Spider takes the fucking cup. My first question, how do you feel about sandbagging me since I'm such a close friend?
I was joking about the sandbagging thing, and then it turned out to actually be kind of real. I just started slow. It's no different than when we were at Indy for the Barstool Classic with Ryan Blaney.
Right.
The first one I hit was a dud. So I'm like a firework. A lot of times they look pretty, but a lot of times they, don't go off at all. So, it just took me, if you give me 5 swings, one of them's bound to be good.
I think I'm still okay with saying I got you over 9 holes. On a course, not that simulator bullshit.
I like this because hopefully we can see this through in fruition one day.
I do need a little bit of lead up time, right? Because I'm an old guy, just need to get the swing. Now, I haven't swung a club in fucking years. Again, he took advantage of me. Moonhead, I think I got you covered too. Honestly, I think I got.
No way.
Oh, you good?
I'm not good, but I play too much golf to get beat by somebody who hasn't played in years.
Really? How much golf you play?
A lot, too much.
Really?
Too much to be as bad as I am.
Do you have a handicap or do you shoot around a score?
I think I'm like a 20 handicap. I'm a low 90s guy on a good day. I've broke 90 twice.
Okay.
So
Spider?
We got to see I would love to do me, you, Quigs, and Moonhead all together on the
That
course.
would be good.
All right, so then we'll
Just
do
settle it.
twosomes. You and Quigs, me and Moonhead, straight up, $1,000. Yeah, whatever you guys want to do. Now that I know the Moonhead plays a little bit,
Yeah, we'll
because
gamble
I know
something
Quigs
away.
doesn't fucking play.
But you got to
Right?
play the same tees as us, old man.
Yeah, I tried to get up on those things. Fuck
No,
that. Anytime you get it.
speaking of golf, Noah Gregson is coming this week to the Tobacco Road Barstool Classic,
cool.
the last stop of the year before the championship in Phoenix. So I'm gonna be down there in Raleigh, depends who you ask.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna be playing, or not playing, but I'm gonna be following. No, I'm gonna be heckling him.
Yeah, might as well.
He's sneaky good, actually. I played with him one time. Yeah, he's pretty good.
So I actually FaceTimed him, and he was on the course with Todd Gilliland. And that's funny because they were doing something like charity event last week, I think. We saw them at Daytona Large coming back from the golf course. So there might be something to be said. Noah might be a stick. It seems like he plays a lot.
I hear you. Let me know how he does. I'm going to be up in Salamanca, New York, kind of by you, Spider, your old stomping grounds, because St. Bonaventure's up there.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. I don't have a car, but I'm going to go 20 minutes out of Salamanca by an Uber to go to a place called Beef and Barrel.
Yeah, this place is elite large. You're going to love it.
What's the name of the town? Olean or Olean?
Olean.
Olean. Yeah, so I'm going to go to Olean, New York.
Olean.
Yeah, I'm going to do a beef on weck at some place called Beef and Barrel.
You're going to love it.
Barrel. Yeah, I can't wait. And then, I'm going to be on the call for BKB this weekend. The fights are Friday night. Watch them. I'll put some stuff on social for it.
You got to let me know what you think of that restaurant, Large.
Yeah, I'm falling in love with bare knuckle boxing.
It seems like a crazy. It's like kind of like NASCAR. Like some races, you just can't look away from the screen. Like that's kind of how I would imagine that is.
And I'm ringside. I'm usually after I'm done, I'm covered in blood. It's fucking wild.
That is wild.
It's very, very like gladiator-ish. Either way, let's get to the racing. Corey Heim is very good. He ties Greg Biffle with most truck wins in a single season with 9. So we know how well Connor Zilich has been doing in the Xfinity, and then Corey Heim is matching that in trucks. I asked this question as we keep talking about playoffs. Shitload of playoff talk this week. Meanwhile, nothing has been done or anything, but just a shitload of playoff talk. Don't you think now, for the people who argue for the full season, which I would love to see too, I like what's going on now. I'd love to see whatever the hell people think is the most marketable. Would it be like a situation where Connor Zilich and Corey Heim have already run away with the championships? You know what I mean, Spider? How they say, well, we don't want to have the last 3 races of the season mean nothing if someone has run away with the season. That's exactly what these 2 young gentlemen have done. I'm not doing the math. I'm not asking you or Moonhead to do the math. Right away, Moonhead got a little bit fucking nervous. But don't you think like this would be the situation? There's so much parity up in the Cup Series that the lower series seem to still have these dominant young performers. It's almost like that's...
Yeah,
is that an argument for not having a full season, at least in the lower series?
I don't know. To me, the championship has already been determined almost in a way, and I say that with a guy with futures on both. I had the front row guys to win in the truck series, and then I had Zilich on Xfinity. So, but my point is, I think this narrative has started long before the recent success. I think we could have had this discussion a couple weeks ago based on the way these guys have been running. But yeah, they're in a league of their own. I'm more curious to see what happens once these guys kind of graduate and to see how they run on the top level, as well as who are the next kind of level of these guys that are being discussed as like ringers of the lower levels.
Because you see, if Corey Heim breaks Biffle's record, and he probably will by the time, I don't even know where they are in their season, to be quite honest with you, because they get all those weeks off. Like I wonder if that's a comp on how his Cup Series career will be. Like it's a very good way to go in and say, hey, I could be as good as Greg Biffle one day. You know what I mean? So I think I'm looking forward to both of them. But Moonhead, do you know what I'm saying here? Is this one of those things where maybe they shouldn't? Because if Corey Heim or Connor Zilich do not win the championships this year, I had said this before, they will burn the place to the fucking ground, right? So is this more of an argument for a full season championship or one of those modified ones because the season will probably be over either this week or next for these guys?
I think it could go either way depending on which side of the argument somebody's on. I do feel like if it were to be a season long championship, we are seeing like the rare instance where I feel like elite talent, like young elite talent, are in the absolute best car with the best team in both series, where you got Zilich in the JRM 88. That's the best car week in and week out. Even when Zilich isn't in it, it's won or run well. And Heim is in the same situation, I feel like, in the truck series. So I don't think that this would necessarily be indicative of every year that there's always going to be a runaway championship, because I feel like behind, if you took Heim out of the truck series this year, we'd probably have a great battle in a year-long format. So I think I lean towards, like I've said on here before, the chase format or a full season over what we've got now. And I think it'll hurt the argument for the playoffs more if one of these guys lose the championship than it would if they ran away with a full season championship, in my opinion.
No, that's fair enough. I could see that. But either way, I think that we're experiencing greatness with these two young drivers. And since taking you out of a situation, Moonhead, since we're relatively new to the sport, it's really cool to see what these young fucking studs are going to do. Right? Like, because these guys got to see the buzz when, Gordon stepped up, or all these other kind of legends. So I think that we're witnessing that, or they could start developing a taste for fentanyl and absolutely fucking flame out in a Las Vegas motel. Who the fuck knows? Let's get to the Cup race. Everybody wants to talk about what happened with Denny and Ty. I know we're beating it to death because we released later on in the week, but we got a horse in this race. So the race was great. Joey was on the pole, led 147 laps before finishing P4. Second most points gained. That was a very great day for Joey Logano. On a day where Joey Logano didn't win, he came away, below the cut line and then back up above it. So congratulations. That's the big flowers for him. But Ryan Blaney looked fucking great. And, so Ryan Blaney picks up another win. He's pushed through to the round of 8. Congratulations to the 12 team. But Denny and Ty Gibbs is what everybody is talking about. Do you have to pick a side here, Spider, or can we ride the fence? I know a lot of people are definitively, and unlike most NASCAR talking heads, people have taken sides. You don't see that as often as you should. So do you want to pick a side here? Are you team Denny or are you team Ty on what had happened? Everyone knows what happened already, but are you team Denny or team Ty?
Oh, man, I don't know. This one's tough. Obviously, I'm a big Ty Gibbs fan. My first take is like, dude, you're not in the championship, fall back kind of. But then I remember that I've said in previous weeks, like a lot of these drivers expect people to just pull over for them. So again, I feel like I'm somewhere riding the fence. I would tend to lean on Denny's side, but it's a tough situation. Every driver obviously is entitled to run as good as they can. I just think you have to think about the bigger picture and the priorities of the team. And if I'm in that position, if I'm Ty Gibbs and kind of struggling, I'm like, what can I do to help the team win? Not kind of throwing a wrench into things and making it arguably harder, or making their tense, awkward, uncomfortable situations now at the most crucial time in the season. But again, I'm not going to hold a grudge on Ty. I'm not the one involved in the situation. I'm just a bystander. So I don't know. I want Ty to be running better, and I don't want shit like this to be the talking points. I would love for it to be like, oh, what a great win from Ty Gibbs. Instead, we sit here and discuss this kind of stuff. So yeah, I would lean team Denny, but
You're leaning team Denny.
I'm interested to hear where your guys' head's at.
Where are you at, Moonhead? I think I do know where you're at also.
I'm team Denny just because, I feel like there's pulling over and then there's racing with respect and knowing the situation. And I don't think Denny or Bell or anybody at Gibbs expected Gibbs to just pull over for him and completely sacrifice his race. But I do think that they expect him to not, mirror drive Denny and air block him, run people up the racetrack. He hung a left on Bell in the straightaway. That didn't get talked about a lot, but a few laps before Denny dumped him, he hung a left on the straightaway into Bell. He was running 3 wide with somebody else in Bell, and he raced the shit out of Bell, and that's why Denny got there. And then he was holding up 2 Gibbs cars. So I could see the argument where, Denny wrecking Ty for it probably isn't the best look from a team standpoint, but I don't know. I feel like back in the day, that's how the old guys would teach guys a lesson. And I think, Denny, that was kind of an old guy teaching a young guy a lesson right there.
Did you think that there was any chance, and again, since we tape later on in the week than a lot of the other podcasts that you may or may not listen to, we have the benefit of seeing what happens on Wednesday mornings. Did you think there was a shot that maybe Denny would get some sort of, I don't know, punishment from NASCAR? It wasn't that egregious, but if you listen to the happy hour with Kevin Harvick, he was like, it's very obvious what Denny had done here. And we all kind of know it, but I don't know if Kevin was saying that loud enough for NASCAR to hear and maybe come down on Denny Hamlin, who happens to be suing them. Was there any shot that this could have, resulted in some sort of suspension or fine or just something that might derail Denny's drive for a championship?
I mean, personally, I don't think so. I think that, in an instance like this, when it's the same team involved, it's like they kind of punish themselves in a way. Like they didn't have great results and they now have to deal with this and,
right.
the fallout from everything. So, yeah, I think it's one of those things where I'm content with there not being any sort of suspension or penalty. I think that would be kind of insane. Just let the team deal with it internally, which I don't know how they're gonna, but I don't know. I think it's on the team, not the league, really.
I'm going to come back to that then, but I will tell you, I thought they should have threw something at Brad. Brad K lost his fucking mind. Did you put up that thing on Twitter, Moonhead, where it was like Brad K when he sees their 4 deep, right?
Yeah.
Like that whole deal.
Yeah.
Brad K's going out of his fucking mind. I'm the oldest guy on this podcast by far, and I'm telling people to retire. Honestly, like I don't like what's going on with Kyle. Like Brad Case is losing his fucking mind too. But going back to your point with where the team is and whatnot, taking care of it internally as opposed to NASCAR handing down some fine or suspension that could just fuck up the whole season. My whole problem with this whole thing, because I haven't said if I'm Team Denny or Team Ty, when Denny comes over the radio and says, is everyone afraid to talk to this guy? Yeah, they are. And that's the fucking way that it is, too. And I think sometimes people lose track of that. Ty Gibbs' name is on the fucking building. That's the way it's going to be, Denny, for the rest of your fucking life. And I'm sure that's the way it is with people at 2311 afraid to fucking talk to Denny. That pissed me off. Well, one of those things pissed me off because, like, now we're living in a fantasy world where the boss's fucking grandson doesn't get special treatment. That's never going to fucking happen, particularly in NASCAR. I don't know if it was like that with the Allisons. I don't know if it was like that with all these other fucking brothers and family members and all that shit, but there's a certain degree of reality that you don't got to go over the thing. Is everyone fucking afraid to talk to him? I would have came back over and been like, yeah, he signs my checks. You fucking idiot. And I'll tell you another thing. When the old man then comes out there and says, oh, it's got to be worked out by the 2 drivers. No, it doesn't. You're the fucking boss. And I can tell you right now, Ty is going to go to the grave thinking he did nothing wrong. And Denny's going to go to the grave thinking he did nothing wrong. That's why bosses fucking exist. They need somebody like Joe Gibbs, a Hall of Fame fucking coach, to come in and coach and say, listen, next time this fucking happens, grandson, don't fucking do that. Denny, don't fucking do. That's what you need in any fucking business, in any sports team, in any family around the fucking world. Imagine if I said, Mick and Finn, you work it out for yourself. No, I should get the big piece of chicken. No, I step in and be like, fuck you two. I get the big piece of chicken. That's Joe Gibbs's responsibility. I don't care if he's 50 or 100 years old. He falls down when he doesn't do that. So unless he was just saying that to the camera, I'm going to let these guys work it out. I thought that was one of the more furious things that I had fucking heard. When Ty came out and said no comment, did the whole no comment thing, it pissed people off because he already has that rich kid look to him. But I get that. I can almost get that he's like, no comment, let's see where it goes, talk to you in Kansas. I get that. Maybe there was a better way where he could have handled it, like say it was unfortunate, I'm going to have to work this out with our team and with Denny's team and all that shit. I got no problems with it. I think this idea that there's some sort of, why is everyone afraid to talk to the boss's grandson is ludicrous, and then having the grandfather not step in and tell his fucking his employees what to do is equally as ludicrous. So that's where I stand on that. Does that make any sense?
You cooked, Large. You cooked.
Is it, or am I getting a little bit ahead of my? Because by the way, I did that whole thing without saying if I was Team Ty or Team Denny, right? Like I did that whole thing, but those were the problems that I had with it. Otherwise, it just seemed like, I don't know, Ty lost his mind for a little bit, and Denny taught him a lesson. End of story. It's sexy that it's between two players. One of them is a grandson, and the other one's, Denny Hamlin, who's got more fucking headlines than Kim Kardashian. But still, it wasn't that big of a fucking deal to me.
I got one other thing to add, Large.
Go.
I was on Twitter following the race,
By the
and
way, I'm sweating now. What the fuck did I just do? Why
you
did I
got
get
worked up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyone? Go ahead.
I was on Twitter following the race, and Chris Wormy, a friend of the program, Betting Mind, was tweeting, New Hampshire's a pretty close track comparison to Phoenix. Should Toyota be panicking? They were pretty bad today, meaning, obviously on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Do you think it's time to hit the panic button for Toyota? Obviously, there's internal beef going on. Joe Gibbs, you have the 2311 drama going on. And then now at a comparable track, you have not the best showing.
Some guy, Chris Gabehart had said the biggest thing to take away from today is that with this aero package and with the same tire as Phoenix, the Penske cars are completely untouchable again, right? Which mimics what Wormy is saying and all that stuff. When I had read that, someone had tweeted underneath that, "Why do you think that is, Chris?" And then someone responded to that guy, "Nice try, Joe Gibbs's burner," trying to figure out the fucking, the secret sauce from the inside. If you want my opinion on that, does that race all of a sudden nullify the domination that Joe Gibbs Racing had over the first three races of the playoffs? Probably not.
I think it's more a testament to the fact that, everything's decided with one race and the one race format, which again, that we've spoke on that discussion at length. So I think that's kind of what this, it's so dependent on what that final track is and how your team is there. So, I think
the rhetoric this week is most of these teams are just hoping that Joey doesn't get in and that they only have to contend with Blaney, and then you send Hocevar out there to take Blaney out, and then let's have a regular race between the rest of them. So people are talking about the championship is now a done deal because of the comps, like you had said, between the two tracks. But I don't know. There's a lot of racing left. There's a long fucking season. A lot of racing left to be said. So I'm not crowning another Penske champion just yet, but man, they looked fucking good. They look, and right down to Josh Berry, they look good. This week. So I don't know if the panic button is pressed just yet, and I don't understand why people just can't do what Penske does. I don't know why the Army Corps of Engineers isn't picking this apart like the Zapruder film and then making the Chevys and making making everybody sort of, because there's parity in NASCAR. That's all we hear about. There's some parity in NASCAR. But for some reason, when it comes to flat tracks, the parity is out the fucking window, and Penske's got the secret sauce. How worried are you for every other team outside of Penske going into the bottom part of the playoffs, Moon?
Penske's definitely the favorite, but just as much stupid shit that could happen in the final race could happen before it too. We could run into an instance where there's no Penske cars in the final four if they just have bad luck. You look at Josh Berry in the first three races. He had plenty of speed to make it out of there if you judge it off of where he started the races. He was always starting, relatively well. Darlington wrecked on the first lap. Started decent at Gateway, got wrecked pretty early on in that one, and then caught on fire in Bristol in the first 100 laps. So you take another round like that for Joey Logano or Ryan Blaney. Cindric, I don't think he didn't really match their speed at New Hampshire. I think that team's struggling a little bit, but Logano or Blaney could run into a situation at the ROVAL next week and put themselves behind the 8 ball going into the next round. And then I'm trying to think what the races are. I know Dega's in there. I think Martinsville's in there. So there's a lot of chaos that could unfold.
Vegas.
In Vegas, obviously, which Penske's been pretty strong at. But I would definitely list them as my favorite, but you can't guarantee anything in this format.
Can I, and I hate to be bouncing all around like this, but I just got all excited yelling at a 90-year-old man. Do you think Ty, he can't retaliate? I mean, we talk about how there's never any retaliation, even though people are like, oh, what's Kyle Busch going to do to Stenhouse after the punch? What's going to happen all these times, where the retaliation is? Do you think it's even in Ty's psyche that, maybe I should fuck Denny a little bit going forward, because it's not over. The reason I mentioned the Happy Hour podcast with Kevin Harvick is because he had put out something saying, is this a defining moment where Denny lost the 2025 championship? And Kevin was pretty critical of what had happened on the racetrack for both drivers. I don't think he was saying that Ty Gibbs had done the right thing, but he's very critical of Denny as well. And then Ty had put that on Instagram, I think on his story, with the finger pointing up to it. So it seems like it's still sticking in his craw. Mention game on in the car, which could, again, be just one of those road ragey type things to say. Do you think it's even in his thought process that he should fuck Denny going forward, as far as going towards a championship in 2025?
I think that it. I mean, that's I do.
That's a big problem.
I do think that's a thought in his mind. To be
honest,
it's got to be. He's a young kid. Listen, I'm still kind of petty at age 29. You know what I mean? I can't imagine being his age in this level of opportunity, and especially, I mean, listen, Nepo baby or not, there's an underlying level of like, this is my fucking team. So I don't know. I see why I could see Ty Gibbs, like, especially if this is to go on. Part of me, it feels like I neglected to say earlier in the fact that Denny's got to lock the fuck in. Like, you're going for a championship where you're having a great run so far. And like, it looks like this might finally be the year. And then you get caught up in some shit like this. Like, I don't know, lock in, see the big picture for both of them, honestly. But I wouldn't put it past Ty Gibbs to continue to maybe jeopardize Denny's chances to win the championship. Now, I would say that would obviously require something like what we saw, like them two, like having beef on the track. But I think that would have to come naturally. I don't think it's going to just be a reactionary thing from what we saw this week.
And I don't even mean that he would dump him, but there's certain things, doesn't give him the bump on the restart. Does certain things to doesn't
Make
go
his
above
life
and beyond
harder.
to be a good team.
Yeah,
That's where Joe Gibbs better talk to his grandson and be like, listen, kid, let this go.
I think they both
and help
need
out
to. They need to remember that. I mean, as much as they're in separate cars, they are for the same team, and they need to figure it out.
Yeah. What do you think? How petty can Ty Gibbs be going forward?
He's gonna want to, but I think he needs to remember, from a business standpoint, the way Denny said his name's on the building, Ty needs to have that mindset, know that like he doesn't need to be a reason there's a negative like team culture at the team his name is on. I feel like that'd be like Denny and Bubba having beef, or Denny and Reddick having beef. It would be a bad business decision, I feel like, on Denny's part to be petty towards one of those two and hinder his own team from doing well. And I think Ty needs to have that same mentality. Whether he thinks he was right or wrong, he needs to think bigger picture. And I mean, at the end of the day, if your name's on the building, Denny winning the championship's good for you too. So I don't think there's any good in him being petty right now. Maybe next year when they're back on an even playing field and Ty's racing for his first win, he needs to rough Denny up to do it. Maybe then that's the time to be petty.
Yeah,
that's a good point too.
Large. I go back to the interview we did with Denny a couple of years ago when it was Ty Gibbs and
Tyler
Bubba,
Reddick.
Or was it Bubba or was it Reddick right on the cut line?
I thought it was Reddick and Ty Gibbs.
It was a 23-11 driver and his teammate Ty Gibbs competing for one of the last playoff spots, and we asked Denny, who would you rather see get in? And he said, not Ty Gibbs. He said he's 23-11 driver.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if part of Ty is like, listen, like, we're on the same team. Put your business ventures aside. Like, when you're driving, you're a teammate. Like, I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes, but I think there's something to be said about what Moonhead's saying as well. Ty should see the big picture. He's going to be involved in the team for the foreseeable future, as long as he doesn't jeopardize that with stupid, short-sighted decisions. So I don't know.
And just lock it down for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Then when he is competing for his first win, like Moon says, dump him in Daytona, do something like that, like then, because that's what people have in NASCAR. People have such long memories.
Yeah.
Like they're like, there's no way I'm on Ty's side after what he did in Martinsville in 2022, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. But we're going to have to let that go at some point. And I know it was a scumbag move on Brandon Jones or whatever he'd done, but still, I don't know. People change a little bit.
Large, I agree, but then I go back to the Ty Gibbs thing, and it sounds like Corey Haim has not been even considered by Joe Gibbs Racing because of lasting beef with Ty Gibbs. So that's why I'm inclined to say there might be an underlying level of like pettiness or grudge holding on Ty Gibbs' side, which again, I said previously, at his age, I was the same way. I can't knock him for that.
Yeah, I think the reason that we may be a clean sweep on being Team Denny is because when, like Moon, you brought up the 2311 example. I'm trying to find comps for it. If Bowman was racing Kyle Larson and William Byron like that, now that Bowman is out of the playoffs, how would we? If fucking Josh Berry was racing Logano and Ryan Blaney in the same way that Ty was racing Chris Bell and Denny, like how would we feel? It seems like those two guys would be looking for a seat after November, whereas this point it's not because of who Ty is. And even though I acknowledge that that's just the way that the world goes, there's probably nothing else that Denny could do, right? He's, even if it's that early in the race. So I think we're probably going to be across the board Team Denny. So I don't even know what I was yelling about before. Cody Ware fucked himself. I felt so bad for him. I mean, Rick Ware Racing, I don't know if they could just do that to cars that often, but that's one of those embarrassed fucking throw a really hard uppercut, miss it, and punch yourself in the face. And then we saw something similar with, what's the guy's name? Hayden Deegan?
Hayden Deegan, yeah.
If you guys, and I know we don't talk a lot about motocross or whatever the fuck it is right now, but I had seen a clip of that kid trying to go after it was the most blatant thing that I've ever seen. And I watched Austin Dillon take out two fucking front runners to win just last year. So it's one of those things. Hayden Deegan did that. And on top of it, wrecked himself and broke his collarbone or something. So we have a bunch of kind of Nepo babyish stuff. I know that Cody Ware and Hayden Deegan aren't in the same, league as far as nepotism, but we have a lot of people around here who are just incorrectly, trying to be disruptive. And all I can think about was when Denny dumped Ty, if he came off the wall the wrong way and then got into Chris Bell,
yeah,
and
it was
ruined
almost
Chris Bell's fucking day. More so like Denny's like, don't ever wreck yourself when you're wrecking somebody. But man, that could have been terrible for the 20. And then this is a whole different conversation. You don't know how a car is going to go off of a fucking wall going 140 miles an hour. So, you know what I mean? So
For
collectively, it seemed like a bunch of stupidity.
Yeah,
It?
wasn't Christopher Bell in the playoffs a couple of years ago caught up with a Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace wreck and had his day ruined? Like, yeah, even just watching that clip, excuse me, I was like highly concerned that Christopher Bell's day was going to be ruined.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up getting a P6, which I guess is good, relatively speaking. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought for sure it would, like, you got to be so careful if you're going to wreck someone. And he almost took out another teammate in the process. The Hayden Deegan thing, I can kind of, maybe I'm just, picking different sides based on different topics, but I do think Hayden Deegan is awesome. Like, I love watching the clips of him. He did this previously. He wrecked a teammate to win the championship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And now he's in the news again. But the difference with him is like he is consistently winning, at least from the limited knowledge that I have. He's a competitive rider. I don't know what they refer to themselves as. But yeah, like Cody Ware, excuse me. Why did I say Corey Haim? Cody Ware is like a guy who's not in a position to be just like going after people or causing wrecks or tearing up equipment. So I kind of agree with Denny in that sense.
I wish I knew more about motocross.
Yeah.
To see if somebody was going to come down and be like, you can't fucking play. It's like, it seemed like before the shot clock was invented, when you just watch old timey basketball guys run around the court trying to kill it, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? I felt the same way watching Hayden Deegan just shadow this guy and be an absolute, menace. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you know anything about that, Moon?
I don't follow it really.
Yeah. It's fun to watch though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but whatever. So best of luck to Hayden Deegan, and thoughts and prayers, and hope he gets well soon.
It sounds like Haley Deegan might be making a return to NASCAR. Did you guys hear about this?
No, where's she coming?
I saw something that said Cletus, Tony Breidinger, and
Oh yeah, the Ram
and
thing.
Haley Deegan could all be driving for Ram next year. I don't know if there's any truth in that. It's not my rumor, but like I think that could be cool, and I would welcome Haley back.
Give me a Spidey score on that.
Well, I don't know. It sounded like based on the report that you mentioned a couple weeks ago that didn't the Ram efforts include like wanting to have some sort of influencer focused thing to go with it, a reality show or something.
I think they did mention something like that where it'd have like a little bit of a social media
Yeah,
or
and
influencer type thing to it. So Haley does fit that bill.
I
So does
can't
Tony.
think of honestly all three. Cletus is up there as well.
Yeah,
So
that's true
if
too.
that's the angle they want to go, I would welcome that with open arms.
You know who the fourth person that was thrown around for that?
Who's that?
It's Corey LaJoie.
Really?
Yeah, and then Corey LaJoie this week on his Future in Racing. This is what Corey said this week. I'll entertain Daytona 500 offers because I think I can compete for a win in a decent car there. And I made the race the hard way a couple of times. So the win his way in. So I think I bring some value to a team. And you could also make about a year's worth of pay in 1 week. So I'll look at that. But yeah, like Truck Series offers, I'm not entertaining. He still has 4 Truck Series events on his docket in 2025. Corey's still driving that. And while he would undoubtedly love to get back into NASCAR's Cup Series, LaJoie says there's really not any opportunities because it is what it is, right? You get out of them, you lose your seat, the music stops, and they put somebody else that's cheaper and comparable that can do the same job. So Corey LaJoie basically taking himself out of the running for the Truck Series, but saying, you know what, I'd still get in a competitive car for the Daytona 500.
I don't
So would
love
I, by
this.
the way. But go ahead.
I don't love it. I mean, I feel like didn't he just get crushed for saying something very similar like not that long ago?
Said he doesn't want to race in the Truck Series where there's only 6,000 people in the stands or something like that. Right?
Yeah. I think he took a shot at both the Xfinity and Truck Series. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not obviously like at this point in his life, he should and he's earned the right to do what he wants to do. But I don't think he has to kind of like belittle the Truck Series in the process, like just saying that he's not entertaining them. To me, the way that he gets back in the Cup Series is by performing well in those opportunities on the lower level, whether that be, continuing to do truck races or even Xfinity, and trying to compete, and win. And I see what he's saying. Obviously, you want to be in a good car that's competitive and sporty, but I mean, I think you have to consider all opportunities, and I don't think he should be this stubborn and quick to say no to stuff that he could be really good at. And I would honestly like to see him do.
He's 33 years old, 10 years in Cup with 0 wins and 11 top 10s. No wins in Truck and Xfinity either. And he also had mentioned being in the booth for Amazon, which he did a great fucking job, makes more money. Like Parker Kligerman had said, I make more money with the CW than I ever did with a wheel in my hand. So I think that I'm not denigrating Corey's resume by mentioning that, but those aren't the type of numbers where I think anyone's going to jump at putting him in a good piece of equipment for the Daytona 500. I don't think that's the truth. I'd rather dig up the ghost of Martin Truex from some fucking Bass Lake in southern New Jersey and get him back in a fucking car or whatever you want to do. So I think Corey killed it with Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, the stacking pennies thing, I don't know. So Corey has stacking pennies every week, a podcast that must be extremely popular. I hear it on Sirius all the time on the NASCAR channel and stuff. So maybe that's a transition. Maybe just say, I'm out instead of putting out stuff like this, which doesn't seem like a realistic thing to put out. Or say, I'll do the John Hunter Nemechek. Fuck it. I'll go down. I'll build myself up on a lower series, make my way back up where they have to take me because they has no wins anywhere. He has no fucking wins anywhere. So go to a lower series, get a couple of wins.
He really has nothing to lose. I mean, I would say the crazy thing is just how good these guys are at TV, just casually. Like Parker and Corey have done a great job this year, and it's just crazy to me that they're not like traditional media people. You know what I mean? It's just something they just moonlight as and are seemingly better than a lot of people on TV at it.
Should I ask Danielle? Should Corey just stay in the booth versus go out there, or is that too personal?
No, I think that's
somebody
fair.
that just got to sit next to. What do you think Corey LaJoie should do next year, Moonhead?
TV for sure, because I honestly, when I saw that quote, I had to make sure it was real. With everything he went through last year, with his Truck Series comments to then end up in the Truck Series this year and not really run all that well in the Truck Series.
Yeah.
I like that would be kind of a tuck your tail and like just say, oh, I'll race if there's the right offer, but I enjoyed TV or something. Because there's a lot of guys who have taken that approach. Like back in the day, you had guys who maybe didn't have Cup success go make careers out of trucks or Xfinity. You've had guys like look at a Trevor Bayne who does TV from time to time, and then every once in a while he decides I'm gonna go run a race, and he goes and runs a race and usually runs half decent. Everybody thinks it's cool to see him back on the track. LaJoie could have that, and I feel like have kind of the hype around doing that, but instead he wants to act like he's too good for those series, and I think that that's crazy. I mean, you got Dale Jr. going and running, and I know he owns the series, but even before he bought the series, he had Dale Jr. going back to run late model stock races when he retired. You got Kyle Larson running big money dirt races and hundreds of races a year. To say that you're too good when you've never won in any touring series or really even run all that great consistently in any touring series, to say you're too good to go run truck races, in my opinion, is a bad look. And I feel like that's going to hurt him because, like, I want to like Corey LaJoie. There's a lot of likable qualities about Corey
100%.
LaJoie.
Yeah.
And then he talks. And once he talks a little too long, he usually says something douchey like this, and it makes me not want to like him. And I think that's going to hurt him on TV in the long run. So I think he should just be quiet and race from time to time when he wants to race, because I do think he does have some ability behind the wheel of a race car, just maybe not at this level. And then go to TV, because he is great on camera. He really is. He can talk. He can get you excited in the pre-race. He can ask the drivers the questions that maybe a reporter won't think of in the post-race. And overall, I think he's really good at it. Does the podcast thing. And there's a lot of potential there to be a likable person. And I think he just needs to hone it in a little bit and quit hating on the lower series for no reason.
And I don't know if it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room for you guys, but he's also one of the most handsome guys I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
Corey LaJoie is stunningly beautiful. So that's the gayest thing I'm going to say on
He's
this.
great for TV,
thing.
Large.
Yeah, exactly. I think the guy, and you know, if his marketability isn't such in the, you know, the Cup Series, he might be in better equipment if he does go down.
Right.
Like you put him in better equipment in either trucks or Xfinity. Trackhouse Racing announced Tuesday morning that Randall Burnett will serve as crew chief for Connor Zilich next season. Burnett is currently Kyle Busch's crew chief at Richard Childress Racing. He's worked with Busch, Tyler Reddick, and AJ Allmendinger. How do we feel about our Lord and Savior Connor Zilich having Randall Burnett at the helm for his team?
Yeah, I think this will be good. I mean, I'm gonna stop myself from getting too excited. I remember last year, with all the Rodney Childers news, I thought that fucking Justin Haley was gonna be like the second coming of Jeff Gordon. So yeah, I don't want to get too excited, but at the same time, the potential of Zilich is obviously exciting in itself. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they could do together next year. But I don't know. I think obviously it's going to also it will be a slow burn. A lot of drivers have come on and said they expect there to be an adjustment for Connor Zilich, and I expect that to be the case for both him and Randall. So it'll take some time before they're comfortable with each other, and Zilich is competitive. I say that now. Watch, he's going to win the fucking Daytona 500.
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about him, Moon?
I'm with Spider. I don't think it would be extremely unrealistic to think they're going to come in and set the world on fire his first year out. I mean, you look at a lot of people who run really great in the lower series. Ty Gibbs, for example, he still hasn't won a Cup race. So I think there'll be an adjustment. That said, I think Zilich is one of the best talents we've seen in years. So if anybody was going to figure it out and maybe pick up a win early in their career, I'd say it would be him. But I think realistically, you got to give somebody like 3 seasons in Cup before you really completely write them off. And even then, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win in those first 3 seasons, but you just need to see the steady improvement and consistency.
100 races. That's what we always say.
Yeah.
So people who don't like this move because of, you know, Randall's up in the box for Kyle Busch, which hasn't been a success story by Kyle Busch's standards. Is that unfair to make that comparison? Because being a crew chief for Kyle Busch is a lot different than being a crew chief for a 19-year-old kid. What's Connor? Is he 19?
Mm-hmm.
I think
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, for an underage kid, like I think it's probably closer to when Randall worked with a young Tyler Reddick. right? And they had a tremendous amount of success and won some races too. So, yeah, I don't think that's fair. How much blame do you put on Kyle Busch's failures in the past couple of seasons on the crew chief? Because if you put a lot of it on that, then maybe this isn't the best move for Connor Zilich.
I wouldn't put a lot of blame on him at all. I can't think of, and maybe I'm dumb for this. Nothing comes to mind when I think of like him being at fault for their shortcomings. I think it's just a collective team effort that's just not as competitive or fast as the equipment that Kyle Busch had with Joe Gibbs Racing. So I wouldn't really put any of it explicitly on Randall Burnett, unless there's like an instance of something that I'm just neglecting to remember.
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of people are blaming it on the equipment because they want to give Kyle the benefit of the doubt that his skills haven't gone downhill as he gets a little bit older.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's really dropped it in Randall's lap. But for the empirical evidence that's as of late, it doesn't look that great. But if you just look back just a little bit, the way he was with young Tyler Reddick was more impressive. Right?
I
Fair
think
to
it's
say?
gonna be day and night going from a guy like Kyle Busch, who's probably appears to be super vocal and frank about the car and his opinions on things, from Connor Zilich, who's like a young kid coming into the sport, finding his voice. I don't know. I think, like I said, there will be an adjustment period. I also think this is a question that I would love to hear Kyle Busch's answer on, because I remember, we heard him on the podcast say that all these cars are pretty much identical. I think he said the quote was, they all get the crappy parts from Walmart or something. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, maybe the driver has a different perspective, but from where I sit, I wouldn't blame Randall Burnett.
I hear you. So how many we're going to talk about this ad nauseum as we get into the 2026 season. Over under 1.5 wins for Connor Zilich in his rookie year, knowing how many road courses we have, knowing that he's going to be up against one of the greatest road course racers in the world, that fucking traitor SVG. What do you think about 1.5? I'm not saying a half, which I think you'd probably take the over and say he probably squeaks a win. How do you feel about 1.5? I'm going under.
I mean, I think the safe bet would probably obviously be under. I would like to see what DraftKings had that priced at, to be honest. I would definitely entertain 2 wins for Connor Zilich next year, especially like given, who's to say San Diego he doesn't win, given that that's a new track that SVG is also unfamiliar with. That might be a good opportunity for Zilich.
Muna, do you think when they clip this out, Jacob's going to clip this and then put it up next year, will I be embarrassed when I said I took the under on 1.5 wins? Or are you with me? Because now that I said it, Connor Zilich is probably going to have 4 wins next fucking year. But go ahead.
I would take the under, because also, aside from SVG on the road courses, Trackhouse hasn't set the world on fire this year. And so, yes, it's very real. It would be interesting to bet. Like, I'd love to see the odds on it, but I would say under. I could see him easily picking up 1 win, somewhere like San Diego or one of the road courses, no doubt. But more than that in your rookie year that would be something special.
Yeah.
Jeff Gluck had just put out something. I don't know where he gets the numbers from. I think wherever. New Hampshire got at 1.29 million viewers. Last year's round 2 playoff opener, which was in Kansas, had 1.79. So the year-over-year comps down big. And every time that we have one of these shitty performances from a viewing perspective in NASCAR races, there's always a new excuse for it. It's normally football and whatnot. This time I'm hearing the race was airing at the same time as the Charlie Kirk Memorial was being broadcast. And again, that sounds good, right? Like they're up in New Hampshire. A lot of NASCAR guys are probably a little bit more on the conservative Christian side. So perhaps a lot of people did tune into that as opposed to tuning into the race being broadcast. But I don't know how I don't know if I'm going to keep believing this. Like, there's something broken, right? Because networks are paying a lot of money to NASCAR, and people are saying that the networks are controlling the narrative and they're controlling, all this stuff, even though NBC said that they want to be out of playoff discussions and all that kind of shit. But they're not really getting the returns. What do you guys think is the reason? What's the reason that they're just losing viewership every week, whereas Xfinity is not? And the reason I mention Xfinity is because the reason Xfinity is not is probably my answer for it. But what do you think is the main cause here? So I'm starting to get worried, and I think I'm the last person to be getting worried.
I think it's just there's so much stuff to watch. As you mentioned, I mean, obviously, probably a lot of NASCAR fans are watching the Charlie Kirk stuff, but also like NFL. I feel like NFL has exploded in popularity. Obviously, it's always been popular, but I feel like people would just tune into like Super Bowl or playoffs in the past, and kind of were a little bit more casual about their fandom. Whereas now, the rise of like sports betting, fantasy football at an all-time high, people are inclined to watch obscure, nonsensical, even the worst NFL games. I think people are tuning into. So I don't know. I also think it's probably a little bit, and it kills me to say, like fatigue to a certain point. We've long been of the opinion that the season should be a little bit shorter just for the sake of TV ratings. And I think that would probably help if you limited the amount of races or ended the playoffs prior. I mean, obviously that would require significant overhaul, but
no, Spider, what you're saying is you're throwing out these Pollyanna-ish things. That's what I want, because if they continue to go down the way they're doing at this clip, they're going to have to do something drastic.
Right.
And what you're saying is one of those options. I think Moonhead's going to have different ones too. So yeah, put it out there. You think like maybe a shortened season? I know that personally, my attention span has gotten smaller. I know the younger generation's attention span has gotten smaller. So when I mentioned it casually to Briscoe the other day, should the races even be shorter? And he was like, no, you still need, some of these crown jewels and, going 600 and all that kind of stuff. And I totally get that. But for the most part, maybe shortening it works, because people don't want to spend 3.5, 4 hours in front of a TV. There's a bunch of things that would really turn the fucking sport on its ear, but maybe there's a quicker fix. So I'm not poo-pooing that at all, Spider.
Yeah.
Like just shortening the season, even though it's going to put a lot of vendors out of work, which you don't seem to care about. Fucking asshole. Moonhead, what do you think the biggest, what do you think would fix what ails this?
Well, I think that Spider made a lot of valid points. Like, we can't ignore football getting more and more popular, and like you said, attention spans getting shorter. I do think we would benefit from a shorter season, or if more breaks in between. You look at the F1 season, they're not racing back to back to back to back to back. And I'm not one of those people who wants to NASCAR to compare to F1 really in any way, but I do think one thing F1 does a good job of is making every race feel like a special event. And I think that could be something NASCAR needs to look at, is maybe, if we don't shorten the season a little bit, but it could still take up the same amount of time. Maybe if there were more breaks in there, maybe you incorporate, I know the midweek races didn't really go that great during COVID, but even if they did something like that, where maybe we got races in, or did more double headers or something like they used to do. But I think the big elephant in the room is just the diehard NASCAR fan is fatigued with the bullshit format, the next gen car, a lot of the things that people bitch about on Twitter weekly. Yes, everybody bitches about it so much we're almost numb to it at this point, but I do think that there's a reason. There is no reason, in my opinion, that people who were once diehard NASCAR fans should be choosing a football team they really have no vested interest in over NASCAR. Politics. Obviously, I understand the Charlie Kirk thing is a big deal, but like, the end of the day, diehard NASCAR fans would not choose a funeral over a NASCAR. Like, when I was a kid, I was pissed when I had to go to my grandmother's funeral and missed a NASCAR race. So like, to me, that's not a good excuse either. So I think there's a lot of glaring issues within NASCAR that they could fix from a car, from a format standpoint, that you would see a substantial uptick in viewership. But I also think NASCAR needs to adapt to the times and maybe how they format their season or schedule things. And it may not even hurt to take a look at football and see if we should work around. Maybe the races should start before football starts. I know that hurt the West Coast in a lot of times, but maybe if we got people hooked in the first half of the race, they'd be willing to miss the first half of some football games or whatever, tune in a little bit later, and maybe that could help. So I think there's a lot of things that they can do, but I think the biggest danger in all this are the people saying, there's nothing wrong. It's just how it's going to be. Football's on, Charlie Kirk's funeral's on. Like, we need to understand why people are choosing those things over this, something that, used to would get millions and millions. NASCAR did football numbers back in the day, and it's only been going down from there, and we need to figure out why.
And I think it's time, like we're talking about hitting the panic button with the Penske drivers going into Phoenix. It is kind of time to hit the panic button. And this isn't one of those ones where I'm bashing NASCAR for it, but one of the reasons that I think has an overwhelming effect on this is that if you wanted to watch everything that was offered by NASCAR this weekend, you would have had to have watched True TV, the CW app, the CW, FS1, and USA. And that's without Xfinity running, right? Like Xfinity didn't run. So it's one of those things where people are giving up on cable, and this cable contracts are going on for a long time. I don't know how I watched this weekend. I don't know exactly how I watched the race this weekend. I sat down because I gave up cable. We don't have cable in my house anymore. So I sat down, had a bunch of snacks made. I went to go put the race on. I had to say, hey, Annie, get in here and put the fucking race on. I didn't even know where it was. I went right to HBO Max, and maybe that's screwing things up too. Maybe a lot of people are like, you know what? I just want to watch my favorite driver, and I can do that now by going to HBO Max, I believe, and then having the in-driver cam so you can watch a race like that. So maybe that, cannibalizes from some of the bigger numbers. I'm not smart enough to know, but throw HBO Max on that list. If you wanted to go in car with all these other USA, FS1, CW, CW, where the fuck is True TV? I've never been on True TV, and I whatever. So I think sometimes that consolidating that, even though we're getting big money, NASCAR, by all these different Fox and NBC and Amazon is great, but it's too much sometimes. And the whole USA thing kind of bugs me too. I know NBC is in bed with, bigger sports, but shit, put a couple of these fucking things on the regular channel. Because like I said, I don't have the USA Network. I got it through whatever other thing you can get it if you also have Tubi or some shit like that. But I don't know. I think if they tighten up the ranks, it would probably only be good for them. All right, so we're about to go 3 wide right now. We'll talk with somebody who probably knows more about TV stations and anything than the rest of us combined, and that's Danielle Trotta. So we'll go 3 wide with her, and it's brought to you by Dive Bomb. Dive Bomb Industries gear is designed to perform the toughest conditions. They make products for the outdoorsman, the hunter, and the sportsman. They even have golf polos and everyday wear. You're probably looking at me now and you're saying, Large, wow, you look great. And I agree with you. We have one of these Dive Bomb polos on right now. They sent me a bunch of them, so I got them. It's that stretchy material that doesn't really accentuate the nipples, because I don't want to look at your fucking nipples, to be quite honest with you. Comfortable. Me and Spider had to do that long drive contest. They had some clothes there waiting for me. Size 15, no problem. I can't get size 15s anywhere. Double extra large golf shirt, no problem. These guys are great. And that's without even going into the hunting thing, where we had just the most positive experience getting geared up by these guys and shooting a shit ton of ducks. Dive Bomb is the shit. So check them out at divebombindustries.com. Use code Rubbin15 for 15% off of your purchase when you get to checkout. So that's divebombindustries.com. Use code Rubbin15 once you get to checkout. And with that, let's go to Danielle Trotta. All right, so as promised, we have Danielle Trotta on Rubbin is Racing for the first time. She's been promising us to come on the show for, honestly, fucking years. So we finally got her in a moment of weakness, which I think is fantastic. My first question, how does it feel to work with a guy who's twice your age, bald, and thinks he knows everything about fucking everything? And that question is for you, Spider, not for Danielle at all, because that's the whole deal. But honestly, how does it feel to work with Larry Mack? Like, one of the things that I we've spoke many times, Danielle. We've been lucky enough to speak many times. I love Larry Mack. I got a full-blown love affair with the guy. Talk to me about what it's like to be in there with a guy like that, who's just a wealth of information. And I think it makes your job easier to have a guy that you can go to like that in just about any situation.
He's the best. He is the absolute best. He's such a rock star. You can't outwork him. His preparation level for every single show is like so on point. He comes with receipts, as the kids say. You're not going to out strategize him. You're not going to outwork him. he's such a wonderful teammate. Like, I'm sure with you and Large, like, or you and Spider together, you have to have some sort of chemistry and like each other somewhat because you're
Mhm.
spending a shitload of time together. So you
Right,
better
yeah.
like each other and like get along and have this mutual respect or something in common. And thank God we do. I know it seems like a very odd pairing. I'm from New York. He's from the South. Like you said, there's like a massive age difference. There's a gender difference. There's like a generational gap. Like on paper, there is no freaking way we belong together on a show. Like that there would be any sort of chemistry, but we're best friends. So for some reason, I got blessed enough the last 15 years to work with him, but he's the best.
It's fucking awesome.
This season, we saw a lot of cool new things in the NASCAR space. You know, predominantly the introduction of Amazon Prime and NASCAR on Prime. What was that like, and how cool was that this season? And I guess, was there a highlight that you had that maybe we didn't see from where we were watching?
Ooh. I mean, I think the highlight that you probably couldn't see was just the camaraderie that was happening in the bus. They got us this like sick motorhome, like in the DO lot and the driver's lot, like where all the drivers sleep at the racetrack. And that was amazing. Like it was me, Carl Edwards, and Corey LaJoie and our staff hanging out, like just watching racing with a freaking icon that had been in hiding in a cave somewhere. Where had Carl been for 10 years? So it's like, I felt like the luckiest girl in the world just to even, be around Carl again and get to learn from him. I mean, in terms of like the experience itself, it was probably the best experience I've ever had in television. Really. Amazon does not play. Like they come correct. They did their research. They really took NASCAR seriously. And I think all of that like research they did on who the fan is, what the fan wants, and then let's over deliver on exactly what they're asking for. Like mission accomplished. They crushed it. And I think you could tell, like in the coverage, there was just no expense spared. The people were wonderful. The friendship was real. Like we were a family, and they really stressed that to me. Like, and they've kept in touch since. It's not like, oh, hey, thanks for those 5 races. We might see you next year. Like we all really do stay in touch and genuinely care about each other. And I think, whenever you can have something like that, it shows on the air.
Are you guys locked in for the next season? You'd said, well, maybe see you next year. Is it one of those things that I don't know about, or is it a lock for next season?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for anybody. I don't know anyone else's deal, but I'm
Okay.
coming. Yeah, I know I'm coming back. So
Awesome.
I hope we're getting the band all back together. I mean, I
hope so too.
I don't know that anyone, doesn't want to sign back up and run it back because it was such a blast.
Maybe unless Corey LaJoie gets tapped for a ride.
A full-time ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'm gonna be calling you guys. I'll need somebody at the desk.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we don't own pants as tight as Corey LaJoie or Carl Edwards. I got to be honest with you, that was distracting at times.
Steve Letarte felt very insecure at times. He was like,
so did I. I tell you what, I made my wife watch it with a fucking blindfold, to be quite honest with you. Those guys are majestic. But
aren't they? They're beautiful humans.
Beautiful humans. But you are on social media enough to know that like we always wonder what NASCAR fans want the most. And so, softer tires, more horsepower, playoff system, all that. I think NASCAR fans just want more things to complain about. It is the bitchiest fan base that I've ever seen in my life. But you had almost an 100% approval rating for what you guys did with Amazon. That's a fucking unicorn in NASCAR. So is it one of those things where now everybody, Fox is going to bring out something exactly like you guys, because imitation, sincerest form of flattery, but it also makes a little bit of money. Do you think that you changed the game as far as how NASCAR gets covered?
I mean, I hope that we raise the bar.
It's probably better, yeah.
I hope. Yeah. I mean, I hope that it makes other people go, hey, we should maybe follow some of what they're doing. I mean, I know for a fact there are people at Fox that were like writing down a list of things we did well to pitch to the bosses. Like maybe we should be doing that too, like on the talent side that I'm friends with. But it's a big spend. I mean, I don't know anything about the numbers, but it's obvious just from the stage, that post-race desk itself, like that thing is massive. That came from Thursday Night Football. It comes with like its own crew that travels with it and sets it up and tears it down. I mean, the technology and like, it ain't cheap. You know what I mean? Like it ain't cheap. Amazon, like I felt like I was in some Tom Cruise, like Mission Impossible, like blockbuster movie production. Like if you needed one, Amazon had 4 of like whatever you needed.
Really?
And that's the thing. It was expensive, but it looked expensive. Like I think we made NASCAR feel big.
Yeah.
You know what I
agree with
mean?
that.
Like, 'cause they just did it right. They did everything right, top to bottom, but it's really expensive. So the question is like, do those other networks want to spend what Amazon is spending?
Yeah. The answer is probably no. Yeah, go ahead, Spider.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was so much exciting stuff this year to look forward to, and obviously you had a big part of that. We went to Mexico. We saw you guys working on the set there that you were just describing. Talk to us about next year. What are you most excited for with the 2026 schedule, and was there any first take you had when that was released?
Coronado, obviously, I think is going to be next year's Mexico City.
Yeah.
Like what the Chicago street course race has been and what Mexico City was. I think Coronado on a military base in San Diego. I hope I see you guys there.
Yeah, I
Yes,
hope so.
we'll be there.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
good. Yeah. I mean, how do you miss that one? Like I feel like that's the one that everybody's circling. And then to be honest with you, I think it's getting lost in the sauce a little bit is the fact that we're going back to Homestead to crown a champion.
I think that's most exciting. So I was going to also ask you your championship predictions for the remainder of this year before we look ahead to next year. But I guess my question is, do you think that it's kind of like Penske's to lose, given that it will be at Phoenix this year, and they've been so dominant there in years past? We've seen them dominate this week at New Hampshire as well, which is allegedly a comparable track. Where do you see the championship going, I guess, in each of the 3 series? It seems like the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series are a little bit decided. Large and I were talking about this previously. I would love to hear your take on where you think each champion will be crowned per the series.
Spider, I think you're a big Penske guy, right? You're a big Blaney guy.
I'm a big everyone guy. That's the issue. But yeah, this year I seem to think that Blaney's going to be the guy. I think,
I think so too.
Yeah, Phoenix is
I mean,
just
if I had to
proven.
pick now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Phoenix has proven to be a good track for them. And yeah, my question is though, do you think that some on the lower level, do you think it's Himes? Do you think anyone else has an outside chance? Maybe the front row trucks, and then on the Xfinity level, can Connor Zilich lift the trophy?
Yeah, I think it's definitely Heim time for sure.
Yeah.
Like, what an epic disappointment it would be if he didn't.
Oh,
I agree.
Oh my God. It would be like one of the biggest. Wouldn't it be like the Patriots that like ran the table undefeated and then lose in the Super Bowl or something? Like you would just, what has he won? 10 races? Like he's won everything. So it's his to lose. I think Zilich will close it out. I think his best competition is probably his own teammate, if any, because Allgaier's really good at Phoenix. So I think if Allgaier can make it to Phoenix, but every time you try to doubt Connor because he hasn't been someplace or doesn't have a lot of experience there, he like sits on the pole, leads every lap and wins, and you're like, oh, okay, I forgot. Yeah, you are that freaking talented. So, yeah, I think those two are easier to call. I'll be honest with you, this Cup thing though, it's too close to call right now. I mean, in terms of a championship 4 right now, I would say Blaney, Bell, Denny. Yeah. And then this 4th one, I keep changing my mind. Like, is it Larson? Is it Byron? Like, would you even put a Hendrick car in? This is the first time I've seen a lot of Champ 4 brackets with no Hendrick cars in them.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see, and I think there's so much to be looking forward to the rest of the season. Is there a particular race you have in mind that you're kind of like most excited for to kind of close out the season? I mean, obviously Phoenix is the big one, but leading up to that.
Have you guys ever been to Kansas?
We have. We were just talking about how much we loved Kansas. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So I'm going this weekend. I've never been. It's the last track on the schedule I've never been to.
Oh, wow.
So I'm psyched to check this final box. And everyone tells me like Kansas is the best ticket. The racing obviously is phenomenal. I heard the food is really good. Large, you're probably all over the food scene there.
Is that a fat joke?
No.
Oh, okay.
You know I follow you.
Okay.
No, I love like your restaurant critiques.
I will tell you,
texting you.
When Barstool was owned by Penn, the Hollywood Casino was a Barstool casino. The Barstool Sportsbook was inside of it. We've since gone private. You know what I mean? Like David bought the company back. So we don't have any ties to Penn anymore. I can't tell you, when we were there a couple of years ago, they were just building out their turn 2 like their veranda with the new sports bar and all that kind of stuff. So we haven't seen how that had come out. But I will tell you, I think it's going to be one of the better vantage points to watch a race in all of NASCAR if they do it
Wow.
correctly. And again, I haven't been back to the casino yet, but it's very, very cool. And then after the race, we were there, I think, when Bubba had won. A couple of drivers, we saw them at the tables afterwards at the casino. It's a pretty cool little situation to be in. So Kansas is a sneaky cool race to go to. But I'm going to circle back. When you guys were just saying how much or how your predictions might both involve Ryan Blaney. How excited are you, as somebody who covers NASCAR, to see a guy like Ryan Blaney be good? When we first started just a couple of years ago, one of our first gigs was in Nashville. We had to give out like some sort of bullshit awards, and Ryan Blaney was Mr. Consistency that year. That's all he was known for. And that's when he first started that whole thing, vote for me and not for Chase for the most popular driver. And he did it he did it tongue in cheek, but you then fast forward a couple of years and you're like, this guy's got so much fucking personality. He's a good looking guy. He's a wheelman. The woman on his arm is a rocket ship. I'm sure that baby's going to be the most beautiful baby that's ever, existed. And so how excited are you to have a champion that you can really have forward facing and on your show and on commercials and on the whole deal?
For sure. That's so big for the sport. I think we said when he won the championship in 23, like he was going to be the best ambassador we could have ever asked for. And he just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
I was asking his competition director, Travis Geisler at Penske the other day, what has it been like to watch Blaney just kind of grow and mature into this stud? Like he's 16. When did I looked the other day, like Sunday was his 16th cup win. I'm like, Jesus, and a title? And he's like in his prime. Like, what are we looking at? 3, 4, 5 champ? I mean, he's young. He could win a lot of championships. Like this kid, total package. Like good looking, swagged up, got the tats, great personality, hot wife. Like he's he's like the nicest human. Like I was at I think you guys have done Corey LaJoie's kickball tournament.
Yes.
Before. I've seen you guys out there. So last year we're in the tunnel and I'm the only girl and like no one's talking to me. All the boys are like talking racing to each other, like dapping it up. So I'm just standing there all by myself feeling like a loser. And like Blaney just walks over and he's like, hey, Danielle, what's up? And just like talk to me. I think he felt bad.
Yeah.
Like he's just I was like, Ryan, that was so nice.
Yeah.
He's like, what? I just wanted to come say hi. Like, he didn't want to make it a big deal, but it's just like the tiniest, dumbest example of just what a good person he is.
And we love Chase Elliott. Here on the show, he's been very good to us and he's a good guy to root for and whatnot. But to have, if the most popular driver turns into Ryan Blaney, then it makes a little bit more sense. Do you know what I mean? Because you could
throw him anywhere.
Yeah, we've been on a golf course with them with body armor. He's like, I'll put a ball on a body armor can. Remember he did that, Spider?
Yeah.
And then hit like a perfect drive off the top of a body armor bottle. Guy's got a lot. You know what? I'm giving him way too much fucking credit. I'm going to pump the brakes. Can you tell us whether or not we all
have crushes on Blaney, I think.
Exactly.
Like, strong man crush.
All I'm talking about is Carl Edwards, tight pants, and Ryan Blaney. I got to move on. Should we pump the brakes on Connor Zilich? Like you had just said, whenever we sort of doubt him, he tends to prove us wrong. So outside of the fact that the kid cannot avoid injury when he's celebrating a win, should we pump the brakes with our expectations on what we'll see from Connor next year?
I'm so excited for what we're going to see, but I do think, Larry Mack likes to say, Lars, the longest distance in NASCAR is between the Cup garage and the Xfinity garage. Because it's freaking sharks, man.
Yeah.
Like it's freaking great whites. And it's tough. And we've seen like a lot of guys that are really good struggle and like still have not won, like Xfinity champions that come over to Cup and you're like, when's it going to happen, buddy? You've been here a while. When are you going to win? Ty Gibbs. Everyone thought Ty Gibbs was going to win right off the bat. It's been 117 races in 3 years. Like this shit is not a freaking joke. And he's in the best equipment.
Yeah.
At Gibbs. Like, I think what's going to handicap Connor more than I think he's a phenomenal talent. I'd love to see him in a Hendrick car or a Gibbs car or Penske car. Like, what's going to hurt Connor? And this is no disrespect to Trackhouse, but like Trackhouse is not one of the big three teams.
No.
They're like win a race or two. Like they've made the playoffs. Ross is still in it. Like I'm not trying to, and they've had huge success with SVG on road courses, but like, that's going to hinder him, in my opinion, a little bit. I'd like to see Trackhouse have a little bit more speed and be running up front weekly contending with those big three teams. That's the thing. I think if Connor's just so good, you're not going to be able to hold him back. Like, I think he gives Trackhouse, in my estimation, he'll give Trackhouse, I don't know his contract, 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. And if he ain't winning and he feels like it's the car, like, he'll leave. And Hendrick and Penske and Gibbs, somebody will find a way to get him in their car. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think it'll take too long before you see this kid in like top equipment.
Speaking of Gibbs, it seems like there was a lot of drama there this weekend. Is there a side that you're on, and what is your expectation for them moving forward? Do you think they'll get through this, or there might be lasting beef on track that we see?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, it doesn't get any worse than two teammates taking each other out.
Yeah.
Like, that's as bad as it gets, really, in team sports. Like, when teammates go after each other, you have a freaking problem. Like, that's not a misdemeanor. Like, in pro sports, teammates attacking each other, that's like a felony charge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, somebody needs to step in. Appropriate action needs to be taken to make sure. I mean, when's the last time you saw that? I can't even remember the last time I saw two teammates take each other out. I mean, Denny just dumped him. He says it's a mistake, but I think it was pretty deliberate. But I do tend to side with Denny because I feel like Ty needs some situational awareness here. And I get it. He's 22. He's young. He has a right to be pissed off. His teammate dumped him, spun him out. But I think Denny was asking for just a little bit more appreciation, a little bit more respect this time of year because he's running for a championship. And I don't think Ty really cared. And I think he should. I hope those conversations are happening at Gibbs this week. I don't know. But you can't let that stuff fester. Like, they've got to figure out how they're going to race as an organization, and everybody needs to be held to that standard. Like, you would never see the Hendrick cars or the Penske cars. Like, there's an expectation and everybody's very clear on how we're going to race each other. And it just feels like at Gibbs, there needs to be, we need to have some conversations this week.
For sure.
We were just talking before we had gotten on with you about this week's ratings, and to see that drop, it seems like every week there is some sort of way to explain away some of the drop in the TV ratings. I think this week it was because Charlie Kirk's memorial was during that same time. But either way, it's just not good. So for the sport that you love, what do you think fixes that? I will tell you that as newbies to the sport, sometimes we think the race season is too long, the races are too long. Sometimes it's too spread out over so many different channels that I think it's difficult for old guys like me and Larry Mack to find where these things are on.
You're not old.
Like, honestly. And then obviously there's the traditional thing with the Gen 7 car. There's the whole idea behind the playoffs. I know it can be a combination of both, but when they make you commissioner of NASCAR, what do you think would be the most effective tweak that you can make that would fix some of the problems with the ratings, at least?
Well, I think going up against the NFL is really, really tough.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were down year over year was a 1.9 to a
1.47, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've lost 500,000 people. I mean, that's certainly going to get NASCAR's attention. I do attribute a lot of that to Charlie Kirk and football season. Football, like, just when you think they can't get any bigger and occupy any more oxygen in the room, somehow they find a way. Like, it's such a giant. I just don't know that going up against that is ever going to be a winning strategy. And a lot of people are calling for a shorter season, but if you just signed a multi-billion-dollar TV deal, for the next 6 years.
Yeah, for 6 years out. Yeah.
So I don't know that we're going to have less races, but I think a condensed schedule that ends somewhere in late August, early September, to me, makes a whole lot of sense. I know what you're saying. Like, you hit a lot of things. I didn't address maybe every problem, but I think the NFL, like, shortening up the season is one approach I would take.
And it's a heartbreaker probably for you to say that, because that results in some of these tracks not getting 2 races, some of these tracks being taken off of the schedule perhaps, and there's so many people whose livelihood then gets affected by that. But if people aren't watching, then perhaps drastic times call for drastic measures, and you got to shorten this up. And I think the drivers, it's a grind. Our first year doing this, William Byron came on midsummer. He's like, Large, wait until October. This is a long fucking season. That was William Byron, and
Yeah.
it just seems like one of those things that's it's almost unnecessarily long, if I'm going to be honest with you. So maybe we can do some tweaking to get this thing back on the right path. So when we are going into tracks like Kansas, even though you've never been to Kansas before, what do you expect to see from the racing there that you've seen, since you've been covering the sport for so long? What can our viewers expect when they turn on the race this weekend?
I mean, we just talked about how do we get more people in the boat and how do we increase the audience?
Yeah.
I would say a good place to start is Kansas. We were just talking about this the other day on the show. I think Kansas might be the best ticket in NASCAR. I'm not joking. It just delivers. The speed, the way that this car has meshed with that track and where the surface is has been phenomenal. Kansas and Atlanta to me right now are the top two places that you go and you're like, damn, that shit was crazy. The speeds are mammoth. The wrecks are big. If they happen and you just can't, if you slip, you cannot recover. This thing is just so unforgiving. And we haven't been, I didn't even really think about this till the other day. Someone pointed out, we haven't been to a traditional 1.5 miles since Charlotte in May.
Yeah.
It's been 4 months. I'm like, what?
18 weeks.
We've just had all these quirky, a lot of road courses and super speedways and short tracks like Iowa. The summer stretch has been, a little bit nuanced. And so I'm psyched for high speeds again, just big old sweeping tracks where you can either dominate or you can get in trouble in a hurry. Kansas is good. It's one of my favorite races to watch. Now I can't wait to see it this weekend in person.
Did you see that, by the way? She was high speed sweeping. That's why she's on TV.
That's right.
That's why.
Well spoken.
Right? You got me wanting to run through a fucking brick wall, and I have to
Yeah,
watch the
let's
race.
go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to fly out to Kansas. Fuck this. Why not? Let's go.
The last thing I got for you is, speaking of Kansas, if you could pick one driver this weekend that you were going to be thinking maybe gets the checkered flag? Is there one that comes to mind?
I mean, Larson dominated this race in the spring.
Yeah.
He led over half the laps, 220 something laps. Larson was just at his best earlier this year. Superman put his cape on and went to work. You were like, damn. It was just such an impressive performance. And Hendrick really needs to step up right now. Gibbs and Penske are, really showing out in the playoffs, and you're kind of like, where are the Hendrick guys?
Yeah.
When are they going to come out and play? I think Kansas could be the weekend. If Hendrick doesn't show speed this weekend, I'm seriously concerned.
Yeah.
This has their name all over it. And the Penske guys have admitted, Kansas isn't really where we shine. I think the Gibbs guys will be great, but I'm really looking for Larson to have a repeat performance. And I would love to see Hendrick step up and just have a strong showing overall. They already lost a driver in the first round of the playoffs. Bowman's already gotten bounced. Chase Elliott's been okay.
Yeah.
Byron's been largely quiet, and Larson just has not been himself in months. I mean, Kyle Larson hasn't won a race in almost 5 months.
Yeah.
That's the most anti-NASCAR thing ever. I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah.
So I hope we see the Larson of old again on Sunday.
You haven't seen Larson win in months. And one of the other things I'll ask you before we let you get out of here, as someone who has enjoyed some of these drivers at their peak, how does it feel to sit there and watch, to a lesser degree, Brad K, but what has happened with Kyle Busch? When we just weren't privy, Spider and I, to the dominant Kyle Busch. So we've had to basically rely on the legend just because we haven't seen anything lately. And the recency bias, obviously, that is this one of those things where you're maybe it's one of those ones where he should walk away sooner than later? Do you blame the equipment? Is it still a spot where Kyle Busch can ever get back to those glory days? Where do you see that legend going?
Yeah, it's a great question. Our sport's a better place when our stars are winning. Kyle Busch is arguably, what is he, 8th on the all-time wins list? He's right behind Dale Sr.
And he's lap
over
traffic.
200 wins. And he's lap traffic. It's really a crying shame is what it is. It's devastating. I don't put it on Kyle. I don't think Kyle's lost anything. He's only 40 years old. Look what Denny Hamlin is doing. He's almost 45. When Kyle was in Denny's equipment at Gibbs, like, he was doing that. I totally think since the departure of Gibbs, he's just nosed over. And I hate it for Richard Childress Racing because I know they want to make him a winner. And they did win 3 races together in their first year. But Kyle Busch, one of our best drivers of all time, hasn't won in 2 years. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see one of the big 3, but he's raced at Hendrick before. I don't see them hiring him again. There's no room at the inn at Penske. And he burned his bridge at Gibbs. So where's he going to go?
And there's these newcomers who you say are going to be low-hanging fruit for some teams at some point. If Trackhouse doesn't continue to be the disruptor and all of a sudden become an elite, racing team, people are going after Connor, people are going after Corey. There's so many other, Corey Heim, so many other places that people will go outside of a guy who hasn't shown him anything the past couple of years and is above 40. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you where I would want to put him if I could. I would put him in that third 2311 car. He has a really good relationship with Denny. They get along great. He knows the Toyota landscape. Riley Herbst is not performing. And he's got a little money that he brings with him in sponsorship. Like, if I'm Denny, if I'm Kyle, I'm like, bro, do your boy a favor.
Yeah.
Get me in your car.
Yeah.
I want to win again.
Yeah. I don't know if he
but
would
I don't think he should hang it up. I hope he is. I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, it's hard to watch him run in the back, but I don't want to see him walk away.
And he's also doing like boner pill ads on the side, right? Like, I love Samantha. I think she's got a great personality. Honestly, I like watching everything she does. So the way that she's gotten him to open up and be a little bit more self-deprecating, it's fucking weird, right? Like, it's okay when I do it because I'm a goofball. But when he's all of a sudden going in for a tune-up on his undercarriage, that's a little fucking weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Or is it just me?
Corey LaJoie did something on his podcast about it, and I saw that clip. I didn't know that existed, and it was uncomfortable.
It was a little bit.
Like, I was like, wow. I think of a lot of. I think because of my job, I have to think a lot about Kyle Busch. I don't want to think about him in the bedroom.
No,
like that not. I love them as a couple, but keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. All right, we're going to let you get out of here. Is there anything you need to promote at all? I mean, you know what's cool is I see you doing like the car auctions every now and again. You're such a fucking gearhead. You know what I mean?
I know. We're going to Indy next week to do another show in Mecum.
Mecum, yeah.
But now I feel like we have to do like a show swap. Because you guys brought me on, and now you guys, can we do like a joint spot? Like, you and Larry come on our show?
Yeah, 100%. Just don't expect too much. If you can lower your expectations, like with us, Spider, and this is Spider, you'll agree with me, I believe. We're in a situation here where we have a guest where we can ask you just about anything about the sport. And we're very confident that you're going to be able to not only answer it, but also answer it in a way that's polished and whatnot. You get none of that from us. Right? There's a good chance we won't know what we're doing.
Spot on.
Yeah, there's a good chance we're going to drop a word that we shouldn't drop. You know what I mean? So tread lightly before you throw that invitation out, because we've embarrassed bigger people than you.
You guys have to give yourself more credit. I loved your episode with Bubba Wallace, and I told him that on Playoff Media Day.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Once he lets the guard down a little bit, and because sometimes his cockiness can be a little bit misconstrued. He just wants to bust balls.
Yeah,
that's all he wants to do.
Yeah,
and Freddie's the perfect guy for him to have up in the fucking crow's
right.
nest.
Oh my god,
for that fucking mess. I hate that guy.
No, you guys have an open invite. Come on anytime.
I would love to.
Sirius XM channel 90 is the NASCAR channel. If you guys are big Sirius lovers out there, come hang out with me and Larry. We do it every weekday, 11 to 2 Eastern. So, yeah. We'll have you guys on soon. I would love that.
Awesome. Whenever you want to, we'll definitely do it. And the fee will be very small. So it won't be anything, especially with all that fucking Amazon money. This is Danielle Trotta. You know her from Sirius XM and from Amazon. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. We'll talk to you soon, Danielle.
Thanks,
you
guys.
All right. Take care. All right. So Danielle is awesome. I like Danielle a lot. I enjoy watching her. I enjoy watching her on Amazon, listening to her on Sirius. When I said I enjoy watching her, I had to pull back and say Amazon because otherwise it sounded like I was outside her fucking window at night. But I appreciate her taking the time to come on. I hope she comes on again. But we only got a couple of races left in the season. Let's preview some Kansas right now. Before we do that, here's a word from NASCAR. The chaos of the ROVAL is unlike anything else in NASCAR. Drivers will battle for every inch on Charlotte's unique road course oval hybrid. It's a NASCAR playoffs elimination race with championship hopes on the line. Stars like Kyle Larson, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell will all leave it out there. You won't want to miss one of the most unpredictable and thrilling races of the season. The chaos of the ROVAL meets playoff elimination. Tune in on Sunday, October 5th at 3 p.m. on USA for the Bank of America ROVAL 400 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's something that we had to read because the ROVAL is coming up and they're very excited about it. But we do have Kansas this week. There's no trucks this week. They pick up next week at the ROVAL. But Xfinity has the Kansas Lottery 300 on Saturday at 4 p.m. on the CW, where it always is. And it's easy to find. So on the CW, Raja Karuth will be willing the 17 for Hendrick. Otherwise, nobody jumps out at me on that driver's list. And then Cup has the Hollywood Casino 400 on Sunday at 3 p.m. on USA. This marks the 40th running of the NASCAR Cup Series at Kansas Speedway. This is the first 1.5-mile race since the Coca-Cola 600 and the 6th of 7 races on a 1.5-mile track in 2025. There have been 18 races since the last race on a 1.5-mile track, and with this new tire, anything can fucking happen. Spider, we've been to Kansas.
We have.
When we used to be owned by Penn, so the casino there was like a Barstool casino at a while. Don't you think that that's sneaky one of the best vantage points to watch a fucking race? Turn 2 from the Hollywood Casino?
Absolutely, Large. And that track is awesome in itself. I feel like there's always good racing going on there. We saw, I think, Bubba Wallace won when we were there.
Yeah.
Some very, very exciting racing there. And it's a great place to watch a race. I didn't know what to expect going there, but I was pleasantly surprised.
We haven't gone back since, but when we were there the first time, they were building out this deck so you can kind of watch the race from it with big garage doors. We saw the signs because they just put in the sports book when we went there. Remember, we were sitting on like folding chairs and shit.
Yeah, it was under
whatever.
construction. I'm sure it looks great now.
It's got to. And I think that if that thing is cool, it's sneaky one of the best places to watch a race on the NASCAR circuit from the turn 2 deck in the Hollywood Casino. I have no horse in that race. I don't care if you ever go to the Hollywood Casino. We no longer are owned by them. But I'm just telling you, when people mention all these great tracks that you need to go to, and Spider and I jump up and be like, make sure you add Michigan to that track, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, if that Hollywood Casino deck is cool, that could be one of the premier places to watch a race. I didn't see a ton of the paint schemes that they're running this week, but I had to mention Ryan Priest's. Did you see this paint scheme that he has?
I did not, no.
So he's running the Kroger paint scheme with Minute Rice. So that same red that you would have on the Minute Rice box, but since his number 60, they put a colon in front of 60, so it looks like he just put 60 seconds on a fucking microwave.
I like that.
That's genius marketing.
They always do a great job. The food paint schemes remain some of my favorites, and this is a great implementation. Yeah,
the red looks sharp. The red, white, and blue looks sharp. Having the red on the hood. Everything I think I love about this, particularly the 60 before the minute for Minute Rice, it's just absolutely pure, and I'm very happy that they were able to get that done. So I'm going to be pulling for Ryan Priest. I don't think I'm going to throw any money on him, but we are going to throw some money on this race. So let's pick some winners right now. I'm picking the tires. Picking the tires is brought to you by DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner in the NFL. Every game is another chance to cash in. Don't just watch the action, win with it. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the unmatched intensity of the NFL right to your fingertips, from first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting. Every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus score over $200 of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season's heating up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Rubbin. That's code Rubbin to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. You have any picks? By the way, I hit a parlay last week.
Yeah.
Did you see the fucking parlay that I had?
No, I didn't see it.
I had Group C and Group D. I had the winners from both. That parlayed them, and it was I had Josh Berry as one of them, so it was plus 1,900. It's a nice little parlay to win for a 2-leg parlay. plus 1900.
That's awesome, Large.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
for you. I
Thank you,
actually hit a
DraftKings.
pick six this
Did
week
ya?
for the first time in a little bit. Yeah, Moonhead and I each cooked up a little a pick six
Love
on
it.
the pick six app by DraftKings. And yeah, like I said, the last couple weeks I've been really, really cold. So good to get back in the winning circle this week. I had Chase Briscoe. I needed him to finish within the top 10. And he got like by Hocevar with like 2 laps to go for the 10th spot. So excited
Wait, I
to
had
watch.
Ross Chastain come out of Group C, beating Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, and Kyle Busch. Then I had Josh Berry beat Brad K, Bubba, and Ty Gibbs. Easy fucking money. So yeah, so I paid plus 1900. I feel good about it, so I just wanted to brag a little bit. Who do you got this week?
I'm looking at the 2311, to be honest. As I said previously, we were there when Bubba won. I like Tyler Reddick as well. Tyler Reddick's 11-1. I think he's back up against the wall. Could be a good spot for him this week. So yeah, Tyler Reddick, maybe a little sprinkle on Bubba outright, but I kind of like him more top 10 price. Let's see what that is. That's plus 120. I also had a top 5 parlay between Bowman, Reddick, and Ross Chastain, and that is 31 to 1. So I'm gonna put a little bit of money on that actually right now.
That's plus 3100.
Yeah, plus 3100. It's almost plus 3200. So yeah, those are my picks. I'm going Reddick outright, and then I've got a parlay all top 5 finishers: Bowman, Reddick, Chastain. I think all those guys have been great at this track. That's what I got this week. I'm also going to have some pick sixes, couple lineups as we get closer, probably over the weekend. I'll tweet those out. So keep your eyes out for that.
Moon, what do you got?
So really, I agree with Spider on the 2311. The only interesting thing I've got aside from that is a top 10 parlay with Bell, Buescher, and Bubba. I like all 3 of them.
I will tell you then, I feel very comfortable saying that I'm the exact opposite of you guys. I did a 3-pick parlay where I took the opposite of 2311. I took Ross Chastain over Tyler Reddick. I took Chase Briscoe over Bubba Wallace. And I took Kyle Larson over Denny Hamlin. I know Denny Hamlin does a race for him, but you know what I'm saying. So I took the exact opposite side of you guys. A 3-pick parlay with the 2311 guys all losing, paying plus 450. So that's what I went in because I'm parlay crazy lately. I took Chris Bell for a top 3 finish, paying plus 250. And I took Carson Hocevar for a top 10 finish because I just haven't paid attention to him lately. Top 10 finish for Carson Hocevar is plus money at plus 150. So Hocevar top 10, Chris Bell top 3, and a parlay where I have Chastain over Reddick, Briscoe over Wallace, and Larson over Hamlin. And that's it for me. Alrighty, boys. Anything else to mention? Spider, you're going to have your pick 6. Watch social media. Spider will be posting. You will be posting pick 6 closer to race time.
That's right.
Yeah. Any moon car, any shit like you want to pump while you're here?
We had a moon car last night. We'll probably have another one next Wednesday. So
hell yeah,
fantastic. Yeah. So tune into moon car. And again, I got BKB. We're doing the fights on Saturday night. So if you want to tune into that, I think you can get it on Vice and a couple other places, but I'll pop that up on social media as well. So that's it for us this week at Rubbin is Racing. Want to thank Danielle Trotta for carving some time out to talk to us, and we'll see you guys next week.